How the 1914 murder of a stupid and unpleasant man by a studious teenager could help ignite a war that would kill 17 million people over 4 years is a depressing study in the awful power of assassination.
Austria-Hungary was a polyglot empire full of different nationalities, Czechs and Slovaks and Slovenes and Serbs and others, Romanians, all of whom were at odds with each other over issues of religion and politics and whatnot. They were all united by a flag that was not theirs, that of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
The only thing these people hated more than each other was their distant ruler, 83-year-old Emperor Franz Joseph. He had little understanding of these factions and cared nothing for any one of them. Franz Josef's heir to the throne was 55-year-old Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Franz Ferdinand was not a very likable person. He was paunchy, he was bull-necked, he had cold, gray eyes, he had a very tart tongue, and a very, very short temper. His temper, in fact, was so terrible that it was rumored that he was really insane.
Still, Franz Ferdinand would be emperor someday, and as befitting monarchs of the time, his interests were all things military, and he'd made himself Inspector General of all the armed forces. Now, what better way to assert power over detested Hungarians and Slavs than with a show of military pomp for he and his wife Sophie to inspect? Had he been of a more subtle mind, he might have noted that the occasion, the Feast of St. Vitus, was a celebration of Serbian bravery and independence. But he paid no more attention to this than he did to the warning of his military advisors: don't go to Sarajevo. Nationalist rage was rampant among the Serbs of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Conspiracies abounded. Secret societies sprang up. Revolution, many fervently believed, would unify the Serbs and set Serbia free. Among the members of these Serbian nationalist cells was 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip, son of poor Bosnian peasants. Princip was recruited by the Black Hand, a secret society dedicated to revolution. Their motto was union or death. He gathered bombs, pistols, and several accomplices. The boys practiced their marksmanship in a Belgrade park. Princip was the best marksman. On the morning of Sunday, June 28th, the number of Black Hand assassins scattered in the crowd waiting for Franz Ferdinand's motorcade had grown to no fewer than 7. But one killer froze. Another couldn't bring himself to fire on the beautiful Sophie. A third threw a bomb. It ricocheted off the touring car's folded top, rolled under the car behind it, and exploded, wounding spectators and members of the royal escort. The perpetrators were quickly caught, and incredibly, the motorcade went on.
Here you might have expected, at the very least, that the Archduke be put in an armored car, or at the very least, in a car with a top. Instead, he rode through Sarajevo after the initial attempt in an open car with his wife.
Princip, out of range of the car, walked to a coffee house and sat disgustedly over his cup. Meanwhile, the Archduke had made a short speech and unexpectedly asked to be driven to the hospital to visit one of the bomb victims. On the way, the Archduke's driver made a wrong turn and was ordered to halt.
Where did the procession stop? Directly in front of the coffee house in which Princip was sitting. He walked out. He couldn't believe his luck. He was only 3 yards away. So, without even hesitating, he pulled the revolver out and fired 2 shots. One shot hit Ferdinand in the chest, the other hit Sophie in the stomach.
Don't die, Franz Ferdinand pleaded, cradling Sophie in his arms. But she was already dead, and in a few more minutes he would die too. Princip was captured.
Well, there was a trial, and the adults were sentenced to death. But Princip, who really was 20 years old at the time, was 19 as far as his papers were concerned, and therefore he was sentenced to 20 years of hard labor. He didn't complete this sentence, however. He died of TB before the sentence was completed.
Because of the assassination, Austria-Hungary would declare or deliver an ultimatum to Serbia that is terribly, terribly demanding.
Serbia's reply to the ultimatum was dismissed out of hand. A frantic, premature, ill-advised mobilization of Europe began, and Austria declared war on Serbia.
3 days after Austro-Hungary declared war on Serbia, Germany declared war on France and Belgium, and then Great Britain declared war on Germany, and World War I began. And the world would never be the same.
Princip's 2 rounds of pistol fire would detonate millions of rounds of cannon fire from one end of Europe to the other. Assassination had changed a charmed world into a cursed one. Not only soldiers would fall, but one group of assassins had begun, another would bloodily continue.